Hello, everyone. This is John Galt speaking, here with a demo video of the updated Simple Capture the Flag template that is for sale on the UE4 marketplace. So this asset was for sale once upon a time, and then I stopped selling it for quite some time. And then I released it for sale again at a discounted price of $5.99 while it was undergoing a remake. And now that the remake is completed, the template price is $9.99, and it is now currently in the updated version on the UE4 marketplace. So I submitted the update Sunday, and they already have it approved, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So with that, we're just going to pop in here. This is just an overview video, so we're not really going to be getting into the into how to manipulate the template. Those will come in some other videos. So for this, we're just going to go ahead and hit the play button here. Actually, let me set this up for 2 players first, because this is multiplayer. So 720 by 512. And we'll uncheck always center windows, and then we'll set this to be 2 players, and we will play in new editor windows. And so this was a complete rebuild, right? So originally this template was built in engine version 4.18, and it had a completely different menu system in it. So when I did this rebuild, I actually rebuilt this in engine version 4.15, but it has been tested to be compatible all the way up to engine version 4.24, which is the most current engine version at the time of this video. So I redid the entire menu system. So I went ahead and put in a single player mode. So if you hit single player, it will then pop up and let you go ahead and pick a team, and you just pop in. Right, so it's really just for testing stuff, right? If you ever wanted to just go in here and not have anybody have the ability to join. So I'm going to go ahead and alt tab here and do this multiplayer find games, and I'm going to go ahead and do a search, and you'll see that it will not show this server up, right? It will not show it up. And the reason for that is because, once again, this is only for just single player, just to have it. This template is actually meant to work for multiplayer, which is also probably why the clock is screwed up. But I just wanted to show that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy back to the main menu. And this time around, I'm going to hit multiplayer, host game. And then when you click the host game, it actually gives you the ability to change some settings, right? So you can pick which map you start on. I included 2 test maps in this project. You can also designate how many players you want to allow, up to 10. And then you can also manipulate that timer up to 1 hour. So I'm going to go ahead and host this match here. Once again, you'll be presented with the team select, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put him on the red team. And then what it does is, whichever team you pick, it will spawn you at one of the random spawn points that are designated for that team. And now I'm going to alt tab over here and do find games again. And this time around, it should locate this server that's hosted here on the left. And then it gives you the information, how many players are allowed and how many are on it, and the ping rate. And then you just click here to join. Once again, you get presented with the team select. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy on the blue team. And as you can see here, his name tag up above his head is displayed in red, right? Now, this has nothing to do with the team color. All the enemies will always display their name and information in red. So that name that is displayed above the player's head, also, this is a Steam-enabled project, which, once again, there'll be videos talking about all this stuff. This is really just meant to be an overview to show you guys basically what all the remake was about. And then of course the menu, the little player name always faces the camera. And once again, the bad guys will always be displayed in red no matter which team they're on. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly just change teams here. And just to show you guys what the difference is here. So now you can see that that name tag is actually in green, right? And mine's in green. That indicates that you're both on the same team, regardless of what color the character actually is. So, let me go ahead and put him back on the blue team real quick. And as you can see here, you have a flag, right? A blue flag, and it's got a little bit of a animation on it so that the flag kind of looks like it's moving up and down a little bit. And I'm going to go over here and snatch the red team's flag, and I will point this guy over here just so that you guys can see what happens here. So once the opposite team runs over the flag base, it attaches it to the character. If the character happens to die, right, so if I kill him, you can see that it drops the flag, which is the expected behavior. And then I can run back over here and pick it up from where it dropped at, and then continue on with the cap. So to cap it, you basically just walk over top of your flag, right? So I'm on blue team, so I take the red team over top of the blue flag base, and you'll see the score increase 1 on the blue. Now, if also, let me go ahead and grab this again here. So if I die and somebody on the red team, regardless of which team person it is, if they're on the red team and they run over their own flag, it will return it to the base, right? So you can see the flag is now returned to where it was spawned at. And then the final thing that I'll show here about this is that if you get killed or drop the flag, if nobody touches the flag for 20 seconds, the flag will automatically return to where it was taken from. So I'll go ahead and just stand here so that you guys can watch this happen. And those things are adjustable too in the blueprints. But once again, that'll come in another video showing, how to deal with that. Okay, so there's a little bit of instructions over here on the wall. Press tab for the in-game menu. So if you hit the tab button, it brings this up. And really, this just gives you the ability to switch teams during the match. You can hit resume, go back to the main menu, or quit game. And tab also closes it. So it's on a toggle. If you press tab, it'll open and stay open until you press tab again. I also did implement a player list. So if you hit the P key, it brings up this player list, which basically is just 3 columns showing you what player name is there and what team they're on. And once again, when you're on Steam, that name that displays in that list will actually be your Steam name. This is only this way when you're testing it local. And this is also on a toggle, right? So if you hit the P key again, it will make that that menu go away. So it's on a toggle. If you have this menu open and you hit the tab key, it will close this one and open the other one. And the same is true here. So if I hit the P key with this menu open, it will automatically open up the player list. And then of course you can press P and make that go away. There is a kill switch in this project. So if you hit the Z key in this project, it will kill you, right? So it'll just throw you into a ragdoll, and then you can it'll auto respawn you at one of your random spawn points. Okay, and then of course, typical mouse, you look around with your mouse, and then WASD does your movements. The other thing here on this is that map travel, which this does have seamless map travel enabled in it, but it will only work in standalone mode or in a packaged build, right? You can't do map travel in a level, right? It won't work. That's a UE4 thing. That ain't a my thing. Okay. And then I guess we'll talk a little bit about this lobby, right? So this is not a typical lobby where players connect to this server and wait for others to join. And then when you get enough players, you then leave and travel to a new map to play your mission. This lobby is basically just a little holding area that players can go to if they don't want to participate in the match, right? So it puts you in a little quarantined area where you can just kind of hang out and not do anything. So essentially what you would want this to be set up as is it would be your little non-combat area. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in the lobby too. And, you know, you could build this into something like a bunker and put it underneath your map. The main thing about this really is to make sure that the only way you can get into the lobby area, whatever you designate as your lobby area, is via the menu, right? Like you wouldn't want players to be able to just walk in and out of here because this is actually registered as a different team. So in other words, if you put combat on top of this template, if anybody from the red or the blue team manages to get into the lobby, they can kill all your players that are just hanging out in the lobby, and vice versa. These guys could get out of here, and if they were able to shoot, they could kill the red and the blue team. So I suppose people might modify this to basically make a third team if they chose to, but really I just use this as a area, you know, where I don't want to play. I'm going to go hang out in the lobby, you know, and you can build you like a little dance hall or whatever you want, just a little place for players to hang out. Okay. Now, the way that I have this set up is it might seem a little strange to you guys. When you're in the lobby, if you then choose to join a team, it will just instantly take you out of the lobby and spawn you to whatever team that you chose. Now, if you're on the red or the blue team, right, and you switch, you'll notice that it kills you, and then it will respawn you on the team that you switch to. So the reason for this is so that, you know, it would kind of help prevent a little bit of cheating, right? So you can't switch teams with them, like if you have the flag and you try to switch teams to the red team, for instance, you will drop the flag where you stand, right? You can't switch teams while you have the flag. Let me say that differently. You can switch teams, right? But if you have the flag, you will drop the flag, right? That's just the way that it works. Another thing is that if you try to pick the same team that you're already on, right? Like say I'm on the red team and I try to go back onto the red team again, it just closes the menu, right? So in other words, you know, you can't really use this as a respawn. Like say you're all the way over here and you're like, oh, screw this. I want to go back to, you know, my spawn area. You can't just rejoin that team and get it to go. That's why you have the kill switch in here. So that if you want to do that, you press Z, right? And you have to kill yourself. The main reason for that is this. Think about if you're actually tracking how many deaths players have. Well, if you can respawn and it not cost you a death, well then, you know, you might want that to actually cost you a death. Which is why you have to use force respawn. You can't just be respawned by joining the team. Okay, and so if you leave this team and go to the lobby, it will still kill you. The only time it does not kill you is when you're in the lobby and you leave the lobby to go join a team, right? It doesn't kill you during that. But any other time, you will have to actually suffer a death. Okay. All right, and I believe that about covers it, guys. That is pretty much the overview of the rebuild. Now, by doing this rebuild, this helped out a lot, right? Because the menu that I originally shipped with this system was the first time I ever tried to make a Steam-enabled project. And there was a lot of issues with it. One, for instance, if the host of the match quit, it gave everybody a black screen of death. That does not happen now. When the host of the game quits, it throws everybody else back out to the main menu. If the host of the match decides to go to the main menu, it throws everybody else out to the main menu. So that's a far sight better than the way that it was. This is also doing the respawn system completely differently to the way that it was done in that original version of this template. And I happen to think this respawn system this way actually works a lot better. Now, another thing that I would like to mention is that when the server brings up his in-game menu, you're going to notice that he has a server admin section here where any client that's connected, they don't have access to that menu. Now, really, there's not a bunch of settings in here, but what you can do is you can change the timer in real time. So if I want to change the time limit as the host, I can set the new time, and you'll notice that it changed the time to 5 minutes. When you're in a packaged build, the server can also initiate map travel, right? So if I wanted to go to map 2, I could select it and hit travel to map. Now, there's some other settings that could be put in this menu, right? But guys, I will just tell you, UI is not my forte, right? But for instance, by default, this project is set up to require 5 flag captures to win, right? So let me go ahead and connect these back up again, and I guess I could just demonstrate that, which I didn't actually demonstrate that, so I need to. So let's talk about the match timer. Right now, this timer is adjustable, and you guys can go in the menu and change it to whatever you want it to be. But essentially, here's what happens. It takes 5 flag captures to win the match. Okay? If no team has managed to capture the flag 5 times before that timer expires, when the timer expires, it will do a calculation to see which team has the most captures. And whichever team has the most captures at the time the timer expires, that will be the team that is declared the winner. If the flags are equal, meaning blue team has 2 caps and red team has 2 caps, when the timer expires, it will then declare the match a tie, a stalemate, okay? Now what happens is, if a team gets 5 flag captures, it will display a screen saying that you won, and then it will cycle from the current map that you're on to the next map, right? Which in this case is just a demo test map 2. When that one's over, it goes back to 1. So I have this set up on an alternating, right? So if you're on map 1, when the match is over, it'll declare the winner, and then it will travel everyone to map 2. When that match is over, it'll declare the winner and travel everybody back to map 1. Okay, so that's really essentially how that works. So let me go ahead and just get 5 flag caps here real quick, which it's a lot quicker to do this in this version than it was in the last version. So I definitely shrunk the map down quite a bit. And I replaced, the old version of this actually had a spectator pawn, right, where you could travel around in the map as a spectator. Well, I essentially replaced that with the lobby system, this little lobby deal that I got. And mainly it's because, you know, a spectator pawn in a template really isn't that useful. And I honestly think that having that little lobby set up the way that it is a little bit more useful than just a stupid invisible pawn that can fly around and look at everything. So as you can see, that's what happens, and then it'll wait for a duration, and then it will cycle to the next map. But once again, that only works in packaged builds or standalone. So it'll sit here for eternity in the editor and it won't cycle. But that's essentially what happens when the match is over. Okay. All right, and I believe that's it. So I noticed there's some guys that showed up in chat over here, so let me go ahead and answer you guys here. So, hey, Scott Lang, what's happening, dude? Glad to see that you updated it. Yeah, it was well overdue for an update for sure. Question, why is the loop not checked inside the bounce effect timeline for the BP flag master. I don't know. Is that something that I forgot to check? Let me go see here. Let's see here. So you said that was in the BP flag master. So that should be in here. So this one, and you said that the timeline is not set to loop. I don't know where that's at. Is that like inside here? Yeah, so you could set it to loop here, right? You could, or you could do what I did, which is I did a manual loop essentially. So what happens is it, it basically just, it does the same thing. The only difference is I'm doing it with a custom event, which, yeah, you're right. You probably could just undo that custom event and check looped here, right? So it'd probably do the same thing. And if that's the case, then that means that this right here is probably the same way, right? So I didn't even name this timeline. Sorry, guys. I tried to push this thing out. So it's good shape, but there's probably a few little quirky things that I missed. But yeah, this is essentially the same thing. You could probably check that to loop, and then you could get rid of that and that. But essentially, they both do the same thing, so no difference. I don't know. One of them might be more performant than the other, but yeah. Okay, and that is essentially it. Let me go ahead and bring chat back over. I'll hang out with you guys here for a minute. And you're correct. Yes, then you don't need the custom event repeat bounce. Right. Well, that's right. Yep. Let's see here. Dude on the phone. Hey, dude. I got this template running on my Xbox One the other day. Well, on the marketplace page, let me just tell you guys this. On the marketplace page, when you submit something, it really wants you to submit all the platforms that it supports. I don't have any other platform other than Windows, right? So even though it says that it only supports Windows, that may not necessarily be the case. It probably works on freaking Android, iPhone, tablets. Obviously, it can work on an Xbox. So just because it only says it supports Windows, it might support more platforms than that. But since I don't have any other thing to test on, I only say that I advertise that it works for Windows. Okay. And yeah, so everybody that bought that template, they should now have access to the update since it went live today. But just quickly here, I suppose we could go to the marketplace page and have a look at it real quick. You know what? I actually hate doing that in here. So why don't we just leave here and go out this way? And we will go to the marketplace and we will do a search for simple capture the flag. Yay! Okay, so there really wasn't a whole lot of updates that I had to make to the page itself. You can see that I did put a little tag here that says updated, which I probably should have put that at the beginning of this. And then I also put updated here. But really, everything is essentially exactly the same as it was, with the exception of it doesn't have LAN mode anymore, which I removed that because really at this point, nobody's using LAN. There'll be videos coming showing you guys how you can still test this via LAN. Technically, you're really just running the same, you're running multiple instances on the same computer. See, I don't even have a LAN that I can test that stuff on. And honestly, I didn't feel like that I should say that it supports LAN when I wasn't actually able to test it via LAN. So I essentially just removed all the LAN stuff. But it does work. You can still run multiple instances on the same computer and join and test and all that stuff. But the main purpose of this anyway is to create Steam Listen servers. That's really what it's for. To make like little co-op games and stuff like that. and also to serve as a demonstration of how you could set capture the flag up and teams up if you want. So while this was undergoing the rebuild, it was for $5.99. It is now $9.99, and that is where it will remain. So I think that's a fair price for what it does. I mean, you know, okay, and so that's it, really. I mean, it got a rebuild. The menu system works a lot better. The respawn system works a lot better. And that's essentially it, right? And it also supports up to engine version 4.24 now. And it starts at 415, which previously it started at 418. So now it actually supports more engine versions than it did previously. Okay. Okay, now the final thing that I would like to talk to you guys about here is this simple, this teams and class select template. So the next update that I'm going to try to get done as quickly as I can is I'm going to update this entire package for this teams and class select to be more similar to the way that this works, right? So I'm trying to make all my products from here forward conform. Right. So in other words, they're all going to have the same menus. You know, everything will be the same inside the blueprinting and the scripting, except of course for the parts that need to be different, which would be, you know, this one is actually going to remove the capture the flag mechanic and instead add the ability to pick classes and also put those generators in the character station and all that stuff back in. But I want to rebuild it on top of this, right? Just remove the capture the flag stuff and rebuild it on top of this. That way the menus and all that stuff will conform, because this template actually has the same exact crappy menu system in it that the capture the flag had to begin with, right? So I need to redo that anyway. And so I don't know how long it'll take. I will tell you guys this rebuild here is going to take a whole lot longer to do than the capture the flag template rebuild. So don't expect this rebuild here to be done in any time soon, but there is going to be a rebuild for it. So up and until I do get that rebuild done, that template is going to remain $5.99 up and until I get the reboot done, and then it will return to $9.99. So it's still going to be cheap. But while it's undergoing the rebuild, I figure I'll just run a perma sale on it. Okay. So let's bring chat back over here. Hi, John. Do you only need listen server to make co-op? Yeah. It just depends mainly on what you know exactly it is that you want to do with your co-op. If you're wanting to save player data, earn custom items in the game, you're going to need a whole lot more than a listen server to be able to accomplish that. But if all you want to do is create a horde mode where you and your buddies join in and go blow the crap out of stuff, yes, you can accomplish that with just a listen server. It's when you start saving player data that things start getting significantly more complicated, and listen servers don't tend to work too well for that, because you have to have somewhere to permanently store that information about your player, right? But if you're just wanting to make a little game where you and your buddies can all hook up and go do something, fight each other or something like that, that's what then a listen server will work. Okay. Let's see. A few months ago, I got simple capture the flag working with your FPS Jetpack template. Yeah. Well, originally all these things were meant to work together, right? Because I was actually trying to build a Tribes clone-ish type game, which is where those animations came from. I created them, even though I got accused of stealing them. That never happened. But, you know, they were just so similar to the Tribes game, I guess. You know, I guess it was just better safe than sorry in that case. But originally they all were created to work together, right? So that's why it's not too hard to take, for example, that Jetpack template and merge it together with the other one. So there's that. Let's see here. How to fire the on-reached jump apex event in character movement. I don't know. I haven't looked at that. I don't know. User, all cool. So anything instance, nothing saved. Cool. Yep, and yep. Okay, guys. So, that's essentially what's going on, right? So this is going to be getting a rebuild, but I do think I want to show you guys one more thing here before I let you guys go in this video. And once again, guys, bear with me. I've got a lot going on. I've got a lot on my plate here lately, with things that are happening with my mother and all that stuff. So I'm working as quick as I can to get some of these things updated and all this stuff. But I do have one product that I want to show you guys that never made it to the UE4 marketplace that potentially might make it now. Okay. And so that's what I want to go ahead and show you guys here. Some of you guys have already seen this. And then, so let me just go ahead and show you guys this. So here's the goal. The goal here is to eventually end up in this being on the UE4 marketplace as well, which I call this multiplayer. Everything that I have that says MP, that just basically stands for multiplayer. So this is a product that I was working on before the shit hit the fan with the accusation of me stealing Jetpack animations and all that stuff. The Jetpack FPS basic product, since I can't sell that anymore, I created a new version of that, which is basically the same thing minus the Jetpack, right? So let me go ahead and set this up for 2 players here, and this will actually get a dedicated video too. Once I submit it to the marketplace, if I submit it, which I plan to. But it's going to be, you know, a while before I actually get that happen. So let's go ahead and get this set up for 2 players here. Okay, so this is the product that's eventually going to end up. Now, this is going to have a little bit of a remake here because I actually want to add single player to this as well. And I want this menu to functionally be like the other one. So essentially it's the same thing. You host a server, you have that same menu where you can do a little bit of manipulation of what map you start on and all that stuff. And then you hit start game and it does a loading screen and it waits and then it loads. And then you get the ability to pick a team, same as the other. But check this out. You spawn in here as a first-person character, right? And you have an auto-fire rifle with sounds and muzzle flashes. You can switch weapons. This is actually a projectile weapon. And then, of course, we have pickups, right? So you can get health. They're team-based pickups, by the way. So the blue team can't be over here stealing the red team's pickups. So it has all these pickups in it. Essentially the spawn points and all that stuff is the same. This has some damage over time, team-based volumes, healing over time, team-based volumes. It has sprint, right? So you can actually sprint. And also it has these cool auto turrets in it, right? So if I go over here and actually let me go ahead and hook this guy up here. And I've actually already been selling this template here, guys. This one has already been sold a couple times to people before it ever actually gets on the marketplace. So if you guys are interested in buying this template, it is for sale right now. But it's going to be a hot minute before I get it submitted to the UE4 marketplace. But eventually, that's what I want, is a culmination of the teams and class select, the simple capture the flag, and this. I want it to kind of be all in one template eventually. This template is called FPS Basic. So this is not going to have the capture the flag mechanic and that kind of stuff in it. This is going to be a starter template where you can start making a first-person game. But if you own those other templates, it wouldn't be that complicated to, same as the guy said earlier, getting the capture the flag migrated into this project. But that's the goal. But I plan on there being one more template after this one, which is going to be called Multiplayer FPS Advanced. And essentially the advanced version is basically just going to be a version that has all that stuff in one single template. Meaning it has class select, it has teams, it has capture the flag, probably even another game mode like rabbit or capture and hold or something like that. But that's the plan. So anyway, let me go over here and piss this auto turret off. So I did put auto turret in this one, which will actually kill your ass. It's a little bit more accurate than it should be, actually. But anyway, let me get over here and piss it off so you guys can see how this works. And that's game over at that point. So yeah, it killed the shit out of that dude. And it keeps track of the players in it. It's not extremely intelligent, but it will shoot at the player that's the closest, and it won't track and shoot at you if you happen to be behind the wall, right? So you guys see a lot of these tutorials, I'm sure, where yeah, they create an auto turret, but even when you're over behind a wall or something, it still tries to shoot at you. Mine is set up to not only work in multiplayer, it keeps track of all the players that are in the radius of the turret. It will not shoot nor track at you if it doesn't have the direct line of sight, right? So there's that. And with that, I'll just go over here and quickly show you guys these little damage and heal over time volumes, right? I've showed this in some other videos and stuff, but I'll just quickly show you guys what these do. So basically it's just a little area that you can define where if you're on the opposite team, which as you see here, I'm on the red team. So if I go in here, it will start damaging me, right? And you see the little minuses come up and my health start dropping. And then of course this right here won't heal me, right? Because it's not for the correct team. But if I go back over here, screw you, turret. Did you see how things shoot at me? Screw you. That thing is a beast, man. I was trying to dodge it when I was tweaking this in and it just kept killing my ass, and I got mad and tried to dumb it up some. So if I go over here in this one, this is a heal over time for the red team. So I can actually come in here and you see it giving me plus signs and health. So that's just a way to get health over time, but you could also just as easily pick up your little health pad here. And these ammo are actually independent, right? So this is for explosive weapons only. And this is actually for bullet weapons only. So I do have two different ammo types in here, and then you got this way to get health, or you can find one of these volumes and get health. So this is a pretty snazzy template. Now this template here is $19.99, right? And that's what I plan on putting it on the marketplace for. The advanced version of this is probably going to be like a $60 template, but that's going to have all the capture the flag stuff in it, the teams and the class select, and probably a little bit more. So the plan is to keep the simple capture the flag, $9.99. When I get the teams and class select remake done, it's also going to be $9.99. This template is going to be $19.99. And then when and if I ever get the advanced version of this done, it'll be like a $39 template, probably. But it'll have a lot more cool stuff in it. So that's it, guys. I mean, that's essentially what the next template will be after the remake of the teams in the class select. But if you buy this, if you want this template before I get it submitted, it's still going to be $19.99 for you guys to buy this template. But if you don't want to wait until I get it on the marketplace, because we're talking this could be months before this happens, you can go ahead and buy this template for $19.99. And when that does get on the marketplace, whatever modifications were made, you guys that buy this early, you will still get the update. You just won't get it from the marketplace. You'll actually have to get it from me with a new download. So to buy this template, all you have to do is click the contribute to this channel button on my banner on my YouTube page, send your $20, $19.99, to my PayPal. When you send the money to PayPal, it gives you the option to put in a message. Make sure in that message you say, I want the multiplayer FPS basic template, and make sure that you give me a good email address so that I can send you the link to download it. I'm not asking for contributors for the month or for any more, really, because with all the stuff that's going on, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to provide very much content for the contributors. So that might fizzle out for a little while. But I do need to get these templates done and get them up onto the marketplace with all the updates and all that stuff. Okay. And so let me check chat here one last time. Let's see here. Hey, Adam, what's happening, dude? Glad to see you're giving the marketplace another shot. I hope you do well. I hope I do well too, but you know, guys, when I sell my stuff as cheap as I do, it tends to piss people off that try to sell the same thing, you know, for twice as much money, right? And of course, if I'm selling it at half price, they tend to get pissed. And then they try to, you know, stir up shit and spread rumors and lies and all that stuff. So we'll see how it works, but just be aware that I can think of one template that's about $80 on the marketplace. It's probably going to be pretty pissed when I have something significantly better than that template for about half of that. So we'll see what happens. Okay, dude on the phone, I got Conquest working as well, where you can capture zones and the enemy tickets go down based on how many zones you have. That's pretty cool. In that Jetpack FPS template, it was cool. It sounds cool. Adam asks, are you shutting down the Discord? No, I'm not going to shut the Discord down. It's going to remain open. What I'm saying is, if you guys want to make your contribution for the month of March, you're more than welcome and actually appreciated if you do that. All I'm saying is that I don't think I'm going to be able to make very much content for you guys for the month of March. Mainly because, you know, I don't like to air my public laundry out, but you guys know that, you know, my mother had a stroke and she's in rehabilitation right now. The plan is that they're going to release her from rehabilitation on March 7th, right? There's a lot of stuff around here that has to be done before she's allowed to come home. One of them is that there's going to need to be a wheelchair ramp. And of course, I'm going to have to make sure that that's built, right? I got to get that wheelchair ramp built before she comes home. Then when she does get home, you know, there's going to be a lot of, she survived the stroke. As far as the doctors have told me, she's out of danger. Really the biggest danger is the danger to herself, right? Because you guys know when you have a stroke, it really destroys a lot of brain cells, and she can't think clearly. They're helping her with speech therapy and trying to get her walk. That's what the whole point of the rehabilitation center is. But the problem is she ain't never going to be the same as she was before, which means I'm going to be occupied in any remote spare time that I had before. I'm literally going to be occupied, like cooking her meals. You know, luckily I live right next door to my mother. Like literally, we probably live maybe 50 yards apart. So it's going to be really easy for me to keep an eye on her, but I'm not going to be able to, you know, set hours and hours working on videos and stuff like that. So no, I'm not shutting the Discord down. You guys are welcome to stay in there. The ones that are in there, you guys are welcome to stay in there. You don't have to make a contribution for March in order to stay. I would appreciate it if you do, but I'm just saying, if you don't, I'm not going to be able to make any content, right? So, other than what I'm trying to work on. Okay. So there's that. All right, and with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So once again, just to reiterate, I appreciate all you guys that bought that Capture the Flag template. I hope you guys like the update. If you guys encounter any strange, weird issues with it, be sure and let me know. Because once again, I tried to hammer that update out, and I literally rebuilt it from the ground up in an older engine version. And I had to try to test it with as many newer engine versions as I could. So there's no guarantee that you might be trying to use engine version 4.22 and I didn't get that checked fully. But I do know that it works pretty good in 4.15, and it does work fairly decent in 4.24. But anywhere in between those, you might encounter a little strangeness and stuff like that. But if it's absolutely broken in any version, please do let me know so that I can take a look at it. I think that this rebuild went really well. I think it's a whole lot more solid now than it ever has been. I think the scripting makes a little bit more sense now. But you're likely going to find typos. You might find something that's not commented. But other than that, it's pretty good. So with that, you guys take care. This is John Galt, and we will see you guys in another video in another time. Have a good one.